Good evening, I'm Kelly Roberts. Elizabeth Rentschler has the night off. Thanks for joining us. Lafayette police arrested 3 people on meth-related charges after receiving reports of suspicious activity early Saturday morning. Police responded to 3033 Comanche Drive just before 2 a.m. and located an active meth lab and several inactive labs. Arrested at the scene were Buddy E. Sanders III for possession of less than 3 grams of meth, Desiree Davis for manufacturing meth and unlawful possession of a syringe, and Jeremy Richardson for manufacturing meth, unlawful possession of a syringe, and possession of stolen property. All 3 were transported to the Tippecanoe County Jail. According to police, a tip from neighbors led to the arrests. Lafayette Police Lieutenant Tom Davidson says this is a good example of why it's important to report suspicious activity in your neighborhood.
It's important either way, whether something's happening or not, because you're putting eyes in your neighborhood. You put the eyes in your neighborhood, you do catch the drug dealers or the people committing crimes. If they're not doing it, well, that's fine. You still have your eyes out there.
The Indiana State Police methamphetamine suppression team was called in to clean up the labs and remove all the items. The Department of Child Services was also contacted as 2 children were in the home during the investigation. And a 2-year-old boy and his father have died after a fire in Carmel Thursday morning. Today, the Marion County Coroner's Office confirmed 26-year-old James Shield died Friday and his 2-year-old son died early this morning as a result of that fire. The exact causes of death has not been released yet. The fire was on Almond Drive East near 126th Street and Keystone Avenue. Firefighters say it was an electrical fire and there were no working smoke detectors in the home. Fire officials say Shield's heart, pancreas, liver, and both kidneys were donated to 3 people. The Purdue Fire Department removed more than a foot of water from a Purdue University building last night. It happened at Weatherall Laboratory of Chemistry. A water main leak caused about 20 inches of water to flood the basement. Purdue police had the building blocked off to keep people out. Assistant Purdue Fire Chief Kevin Clark says they had to call in structural engineers to have the power turned off before they could enter the building to remove the standing water. But Clark says although there may be damage, it happened at a time when students were less likely to be affected.
They'll get on this pretty quick. It's probably a blessing it was on spring break, so it's not affecting the students and their studies. So hopefully the zones will get on this pretty quick and we'll get them back up and running.
News 18 was not able to get a comment from the university on how long it will take to clean up the mess or if it will affect classes when students return. Well, the temperatures keep falling, and I think the hope that days like yesterday will be the norm may be fading as well. Meteorologist Amber Hardwick joins us now with a look at what is to come. Hey, Amber.
Hey. Hey, Kelly. We're actually had much cooler temperatures today, 20 degrees cooler to be exact. We had a high of 45 degrees today, when yesterday we had a high of 65 degrees. And unfortunately, the temperatures are going to keep falling. We're currently at 34 degrees in Lafayette and around the area, sitting in the 30s, 32 in Rensselaer, 32 in Fowler, 34 degrees currently in the Kokomo area, 34 in Rossville, and 36 degrees down in Crawfordsville. We're still seeing some clouds lingering around the area. We'll see partly cloudy skies overnight tonight and then eventually see mostly sunny skies as we get into the day tomorrow, but those clouds are going to hang around during the overnight period and should break up a little bit once we get to tomorrow morning or so. We'll see partly cloudy skies to start off the day tomorrow. Unfortunately, the below average temperatures are here to stay for the first part of the week, and we're tracking a chance for snow. Unfortunately, on Tuesday we could see some minor accumulation with that, and then the warm up will come back. Don't worry about that. We'll have temperatures climbing back up into the 50s. It's all coming up in the main forecast.
Thanks, Amber. See you then. The Moses Fowler House is a historical landmark in Lafayette, and now it could become yours for the right price. News 18's Samantha Tiki reports on the Tippecanoe County Historical Association's decision to sell the historic home.
A piece of Lafayette history is officially on the market.
It is one of the finest examples of Gothic Revival architecture still standing in Indiana.
The Tippecanoe County Historical Association is asking for $1,250,000 for the historic Moses Fowler House. No longer able to keep up with the cost of ownership, TCHA Executive Director Kathy Atwell says putting the house up for sale was a tough decision, but they just couldn't keep up with the costs needed to maintain the home.
That really didn't bring enough revenue to keep the house maintained for how it needs to be maintained.
The historic home has about 9,000 square feet and 16 main rooms, plus a full attic and basement. But Atwell says whoever buys the home will have some rules to follow. TCHA has been working over the past year to put together an easement to ensure the home's historical features are preserved.
You can't come in and take out the plaster work or change the woodwork. It is to protect the integrity of the interior of the rooms.
The new owner would work with nonprofit organization Indiana Landmarks to make sure the home is maintained properly.
Indiana Landmarks can give them historic perspective, can help them find contractors who know how to work on historic homes.
Atwell hopes whoever buys the home will still allow some community access to the house and says although selling was a tough decision, the proceeds will go toward creating a museum dedicated to showcasing the history of Tippecanoe County, continuing TCHA's mission.
We're hoping to be able to have a museum that brings people back and tell about the history.
Reporting in Lafayette, Samantha Tiki, News 18.
Frankfort police held an informal town hall meeting with members of the city's Hispanic community this morning. A lack of understanding due to cultural and language barriers often lead to a mistrust of law enforcement in the area, and that is sparking these meetings. The goal of the gatherings is to inform residents of the role of police and differences in Indiana's laws. About 30 people attended the meeting. Local pastor and police chaplain Leo Gonzalez says he wanted to inform people and let them know the police are there to protect their families. He says it's important to look at the problems in the Frankfort community as ones that affect the entire community and not just one segment of the population.
We are one community and we want to work together, and that's the reason why we have these meetings.
We all have to work together to affect crime in this community. This can't just be one particular group of people or another. We all need to work together.
Both Bacon and Gonzalez say the meetings, which have been taking place since 2012, have helped create more familiarity between law enforcement and the Hispanic community members. The Wabash National Corporation is getting into the Australian market. The Lafayette-based truck trailer maker has announced an agreement with Australia's Mez Trailers to bring several Wabash National products to that country. Australia presents some challenges to the trucking industry, including hauls up to 3,000 miles in harsh conditions. Mez Trailers was founded 3 years ago and has doubled in growth every year since then. Wabash National's Duraplate, Arctic Light, Transcraft, and Benson aluminum flatbed and drop deck trailers will be available in Australia in July. U.S. Senator Joe Donnelly joined a delegation in Afghanistan where President Barack Obama was urged to make a decision about the amount of troops that will be pulled from the country at the end of the year. The delegation was led by Republican Senator from New Hampshire, Kelly Ayotte. She stressed no American forces would remain in the country without a bilateral security agreement. But she also said the president should not wait for that to give an idea of what the U.S. presidents would be after the NATO-led combat mission ends at the end of the year. Afghanistan's President Hamid Karzai has refused to sign the deal.
Because this agreement is fundamental to us in terms of the legal protections needed for our troops. And we raised this issue directly with President Karzai.
The top commander of U.S. and international forces in Afghanistan, General Joseph Dunford, testified at a Senate Armed Service Committee hearing last week. He said that he would feel comfortable keeping between 8,000 and 12,000 troops if the deal was signed. Along with Donnelly and Ayotte, Representative Stephen Lynch of Massachusetts also joined the delegation. A robotics competition wraps up at Purdue University. Who took the top prize and how well a local team did in the tournament. Plus, we head to a bowl-a-thon. It's not the sport, but the art. How some fun with clay is helping a good cause.